Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience working at Ulta. As you can see by the title, I no longer work there, even though my literal last video was a video of me working at Ulta. I did not prepare for this. I literally quit yesterday and not write down any notes. This is just fresh in my mind, so hopefully I remember everything. Like, I guess I should just start from the beginning and just kind of like try to speed through it real quick. I don't want this video to be too long, but y'all know me, so it's probably gonna be long. Basically, yes, I applied in October of 2021, okay? Right after I graduated makeup school in September, because, you know, I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna find work, I need money, whatever. Applied there in October of 2021 and did not hear back until January of 2022. So a couple months later, they finally emailed me, and I forgot I even applied there. They finally emailed me being like, do you still wanna work here? A couple months later, and I was like, sure, because January was a really slow month for me as far as freelancing, and you know, I needed a little extra money to pay my bills. So I was like, okay, sure. I agree in January, but I don't actually start working until February, okay, like mid-February. Onboarding took so freaking long, and honestly, I should have known that the job was gonna be sus just from that. Like, I really should have known, because why is it taking a month and a half to onboard? Like, I don't get it. So yes, I finally like actually start working, and it was interesting. My first day, like, well, it wasn't like my first day yet, but it was my first day doing paperwork, and I showed up at the time, you know, I went up to someone and I was like, hi, blah, 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 I need to talk to the general manager. So they're like, okay, let me go get her. So they come back, they're like, oh, she's on a call right now, but she'll like come out when she's done. And I was like, all right, cool. So I'm like walking around, 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes go by, 30 minutes go by, and I'm like, okay, like, what type of call is this? Like, I'm like, what type of call is this? Like, why would she bring me here at this time if she wasn't ready to talk? So 45 minutes go by, y'all. An hour goes by. I'm like, okay, this is blowing me. An hour and a half goes by, and then an hour and 45 minutes go by, and I say, yeah, I'm literally leaving in 15 minutes. I don't care. I don't care. You're not about to waste my time. So like 10 minutes go by, and then finally this lady comes out, and she like comes up to me and she goes, are you Brianna? Are you? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, like, where were you? I was looking for you. Like, I was about to call you and like cancel the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I've been here for 2 hours. What do you mean, where have I been? And she was like, I was like, didn't they go like tell you I was here? And they were like, well, they didn't tell me your name or what you look like or any of that. And I was like, so they're incompetent. In my mind, obviously, I'm like, okay, so they're stupid. What? So I waited for 2 hours for her to finally come out and be like, oh, my bad, girl. And then whatever, I do what I'm supposed to do some training on the computer, and then I leave. So then I did that, and then still a week goes by, don't hear anything. I had to go up there. First of all, I would call the phone and be like asking for information, and I would either get left on hold for like literally 30 plus minutes, or no one would answer. So I was like, no. So one day I literally had to go up there myself and talk to one of the managers and be like, hey, what's going on? I need to know what's going on. And so finally they gave me their numbers, and then I was able to get things done from there. So that was already my first red flag, okay? Because I'm like, it shouldn't be this hard. If you need people that bad, it shouldn't be this hard to get a new person to start, right? So, but I was like, whatever, the beginnings of every job is gonna be, a little extra. It's gonna be a little stupid, take a little long. So I was like, whatever. So I start, it's like, it's okay, it's not bad. Yeah, honestly, I'm just gonna like kind of skip around because I just honestly want to talk about the reason why I quit. Well, there's multiple reasons, but so like I'm working there, the hours are like fluctuating. So like a couple weeks I would get like a couple 4-hour shifts and like, whatever, 4 or 5 hour shifts. And then a couple weeks I would get like literally 5 days a week and all this stuff. And like, it was confusing, but I wasn't really doing anything at the time because like I said, freelancing was slow. So I was kind of like, okay. So yes. Anyway, fast forward. So I like I said, I got hired in January. It's currently July, so I've been working there for about 6 to 7 months. So it's not like I just, went in and dipped out like 2 months later. But I was like working the truck shifts, late at night, early in the morning, doing my thing. Now, mind you, minimum wage in California when I first got hired was 15. It just went up recently, so they like forced everyone who's making 15 to make 16. But at first it was 15. I got hired making $16.50, and I thought that was good, right? Because I used to live in Georgia where minimum wage is $7.25. Okay, so in my mind, I'm like $7.25 versus $16.50. Like, oh, I'm getting my bag. No, minimum wage is 15. I wasn't making that much more. And well, it was 15, now it's 16. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm finding out how much other people getting paid, and I'm like, the ratios don't make sense here. And then like towards the end of me being there, I found out that this one girl, side note, let me explain like the tiers of like, positions. So first there's a beauty advisor. That's just a regular person. They work on the register, and then sometimes they'll like go out onto the floor sometimes, but mainly the register kind of. And then there's a prestige beauty advisor. That's what I was. So I was on the floor, like I'm technically only supposed to be on the floor, and I like push, the expensive stuff. I do shade matches and whatever. There's 3 types of prestige beauty advisors. There's like one for fragrance, one for skincare, and then one for makeup. I was the one for makeup, and there was one for this fragrance and one for skincare. And there was only 3 of us, even though the store is huge and there's like a lot of people working there. But that was like a whole other thing. But one girl ended up getting promoted to prestige at like towards the end of me being there. So there's like 4, maybe 5. I don't think so though. But anyway, yes, prestige, and then you have a lead. So that's like a cash lead. So they're mainly on the register also, but they run the register basically when the manager's not there, and like they do like the breaks, and they have like authorization for like the computers and stuff. So yeah, and then there's like a manager, and then there's like a general manager, blah 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 blah. But anywho, so yes, I was prestige, okay, and then one of the new girls who got hired as just a regular beauty advisor was making 17, and I was making $16.50 as a prestige beauty advisor, and I had been there longer than her. So in my mind, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting severely underpaid here already now, and I can't really be doing that. Also, sorry, hate to say it, but there was literally like 4 black people that worked there, so that was already blowing me. And when I first got hired, the general manager was black. She was interesting though, and when I first got hired, she literally told me, she was like, I'm so glad that she was like, as you can see, there's not that many African Americans here, which in my mind, I'm like, girl, every black person is not African American. Some black people are just African. Some black people don't have, I'm not about to, anyway, you get me though. She was like, I'm so glad there's another African American person here. And I was like, okay, girl, like, sure. And so, yeah, wasn't that many black people. She ended up getting fired because, like, no one really liked her. and all this other stuff. I wasn't, she was only there for like maybe 3 months while I was there, and then we literally had no general manager for like the rest of the time. Which also happened to me when I was working at Chipotle too. I don't know what it is about general managers, like so much freaking drama with them. I feel like I completely skipped. I'm telling y'all, I did not plan this video. I literally just sat down with this fresh on my mind. So it's definitely gonna be all over the place. But yeah, not that many black people. I was getting underpaid, clearly, compared to my white or non-black counterparts. Also, there was like no Asian people that worked there. It was literally like white people, a whole bunch of like white Latinos, and Mexicans, and like a couple black people. Like the diversity was shit. And which I find interesting because Ulta's whole thing is like diversity and like everyone is included and blah blah blah, which nah, babe, definitely not the case. And I've had weird racial stuff happen to me at Ulta, which I'll probably get into at some point, or now. I guess I could talk about it now. Yeah, weird racial stuff. I guess I'll just go off of my memory. One person asked me. Well, actually, no. I'm gonna start with the chill stuff. Well, it wasn't chill, but you know, the least to most aggressive. When I first got my faux locks done, and I came to work, oh my god, literally going to work with those faux locks made me regret getting the style at all and having to go out in public, because they would literally, first they would be like, oh my god, Brie, did you get braids? And I'm like, do these look like braids? I would say they're locks. And they're like, oh, okay. One girl came up to me, did you get extensions? Okay. Yeah, one person came up to me and was like, oh my god, like, I love your locks. Like, one time, like, when I tried to do it, and then I was like, whoa. Why are you confessing to me that you've had locks before and you're not black? And they're like, when I tried to do it, like, it just, something, I don't remember. But then at the end, they were like, but it didn't turn out as good as yours, though. And in my mind, I'm like, duh, they didn't. You don't know what you're doing, babe. And you don't have the hair for it. I'm sorry. One girl said to me how she'd always wanted box braids and all this stuff. Another non-black, saying, oh my god, I've always wanted, well, first she didn't even remember what they were called. She was like, what do you call them? And then she like looked at me to fill in the gap. I was like, I ain't saying nothing. And then finally, after enough silence, because I was about to walk away, she goes, oh, box braids. I've always wanted box braids. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, yeah, but I don't think they would look good on me or something. And then I was like, well, they're really not for your hair type, so yeah, it could really damage your hair, which is true. Obviously, I could have said that's cultural appropriation and you shouldn't do that, but I was just like, it's not for your hair type, basically. And she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, fucking weirdo, like, what? And then another weird racial thing that happened to me, okay, another side note, I'm sorry, y'all, my brain just, this is how it works, okay? But one time, well, okay, two things. I'm sorry. One time, a customer came up to me and said, I want a lip liner that's like your skin color. And I was like, ooh, that sounds weird and slave timey. Like you want to like peel off my skin and eat it or something. Like, you know, those weird like slave owners that would literally like eat black people. Like I got those vibes. I was like, don't say that. And then I noticed a lot of white people, or just like a lot of non-black people come to Ulta claiming they have curly hair when they like really don't, and it's like waves at best, but they'll literally ask for curly hair products. And I'm like, your hair's not curly, babe. No, you have waves at best. Like, literally, one girl came up to me. It was so awkward because she came up to me asking for curly hair products, and I was like, I looked at her hair and I was like, curls or waves? And she was like, well, my hair is curly, it's just straight right now. okay. Like, I always direct them to stuff that's just good for all hair types, because what business do you have buying curly hair products? And I'm sorry, not to gatekeep curly hair, but like kinda I am though, because I'm sorry, what is this new trend of a whole bunch of white people like thinking they have curly, wanting curly hair, asking for products? How do I make my hair curly? Like, no, either get a freaking perm or shut up. Like, I'm not about to do this with y'all. But anyway, another weird racial thing that happened to me from my coworkers was one person also came up to me. Well, and you might call this petty, but I don't care. Two of my non-black coworkers were listening to a Drake song. One of them hummed the N-word. I said, yeah, I noted, because they ended up seeing me and then stopped. So, And then another manager who peeped me, peeping the other person being sus, comes up to me being like, how do you feel about non-black people saying the N-word? Why would you ask me that at work, bro? Like, I was like, if you don't look visibly black, you shouldn't say it. Also, if you've never been called it, you also shouldn't be saying it. And then he was like, and they were like, fair enough. And I was like, okay. And then they were like, but what if you have been called it? And it was like kind of laughing. And I was like, well, you shouldn't have been. And then I like walked away, because what? Like, are you just asking me permission to say the N-word or something? Like, obviously I'm not down with it. Don't ever think I'm one of them blacks that is cool with that, because I'm not. So don't ever get comfortable. Don't. Because it's gonna be real awkward. I don't let that slide. Like, no. Like, don't think I'm one of them cool blacks that lets people say whatever they want in front of me. No, babe, I'm not. So don't try it. But anyway. Yeah, weird racial stuff happening to me already, adding to the fact that I'm clearly getting like underpaid and like all this other stuff. So also, the communication there just really sucked. And compared to, which I hate to compare Ulta to Sephora, because Sephora is a bad company in the, like, Sephora has its own problems. And the reason that I didn't work at Sephora versus Ulta was because during COVID, they like laid off a whole bunch of employees with like no notice. And that was like super shady. And I was like, well, at least Ulta didn't do that. But in terms of like how it is working there, like, because, okay, when you work at Sephora or Ulta or like a makeup store, you get gratis. That just means like free shit, basically, like free makeup, free products. So at Sephora, they get good gratis. Like, they be getting full size, expensive everything. At Ulta, no, the gratis is shit. Like, I've never gotten good free stuff from there, except for a couple things which vendors gave me, and not the actual like Ulta itself, like the managers. And I don't know who controls the gratis at Ulta, but you're doing a very, very bad job. Like, y'all, they have given only like samples, like tiny little samples of stuff. And I'm like, bro, I could run out of this in 2 uses. Like, this is not doing it for me. Yeah, shit gratis. And I was like, and mind you, I have a friend who works at Sephora, and she showed me her gratis, y'all. She had bags and bags of just so much shit, being like, yeah, I haven't tried this yet, I'm like, I wish I had that problem. Like, I wish. But anyway, yeah, honestly, the communication sucked, the gratis sucked. No one knew, like, it felt like no one knew what the actual rules were, and it felt like everyone just kind of enforced rules based off how they personally were feeling. Like, it didn't make any sense, honestly. Like, the rules itself at Ulta were really stupid, and they were not communicated well. And I actually want to move into, speaking of that, I'm gonna move into like the reasons what made me really quit. And so, speaking of rules, okay, so at Ulta, which I found out very late, you get these things called points, okay? So when you do when you call out, you get a point. When you leave early, you get a point. Did not know that one. And if you come late, you get a point, okay? I don't know how late. They never explained that to me. I don't know if they even have a grace period. I thought it was like a 5-minute grace period. Some companies have 10. I didn't know what it was, okay? But that's not really, anyway. So yes, you get points, okay? When you get 8 points, you get fired, okay? Please keep that in mind. So mind you, I did not know this. A lot of people did not know this, y'all. Like a lot of the just straight up like workers, not the managers, but like just most of the people didn't know. At least me. Okay, I can't speak for everyone else, but I know that I didn't know. So basically one day I got called to the office and my manager was like, I'm just letting you know that you have 7.5 points out of 8. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What do you mean by that? And she hands me this paper, y'all, literally with all these things that I've done that has made me get points. And I was like, what is this? Like, I've never seen this in my life. I don't know what this is. She's like, yeah, this is your final warning. I'm like, final warning? I ain't even never got a first warning. I don't remember ever getting a first warning. I'm looking at this paper. It's saying I've gotten written warnings and verbal warnings multiple times. That is a lie, y'all. I have never gotten a warning. I didn't even know that they keep track of that shit. Like, dead ass, did not know. No one ever told me I was getting points when I would call out. Okay, now let me explain how I got these points, y'all, okay? And I know what you're gonna say. Well, Bree, if you were calling out, then it's your fault. All right, let me tell you this, okay? A couple of the times that I called out, I was in the hospital, okay? One time I called out in March was because I was in the hospital for a cyst on my ovary and could not work from the day that I went to 4 days after. Mind you, I gave them a doctor's note. So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, I have proved that this is a legit reason, so I shouldn't get in trouble for this, right? Or I shouldn't even get, I didn't even think about it, y'all. I didn't even think as a possibility of me getting in trouble for this. So I wasn't even, yes, so that in 4 days after. And then another time I pulled a muscle in my, I pulled my hip flexor, which I have pulled a lot before, y'all. So it's like, I don't know if that's a thing for like to be more prone to doing it now, but I've pulled that muscle so many times. So I already know the drill. If I pull it, I can't walk on it for at least 3 days, okay? So I had to go. I got a note for it. I went to urgent care, got a note for it, and presented that as well. Now, when I gave them my second note, I called out, right? And I talked to one of my managers. I was like, hey, this is what happened. I have a note. Do you want me to send it to you, okay? My manager proceeds to say to me, oh, we don't take doctor's notes. What do you mean you don't take doctor's notes? She says, we don't take doctor's notes as excused absences. Mind you, they did not tell me this when I went to the hospital for my cyst and gave them a note. So I did not know that that was a thing. Mind you, in my mind, I'm like, that doesn't even sound legal, but okay. So yeah, so I had already got hella points off of just those two things. Another time, okay, mind you, y'all, side note, just for you to know, my car is, I don't know what's wrong with my car, but there's like literally always something wrong with it. Like my brakes are terrible. Like my engine like goes in and out. I don't know what it is, y'all. One day I had to call out because like my car, it was like just not, I was not gonna make it to work, y'all. Let me just say that. I knew if I got in that car, I was not gonna make it to work that day. I don't know how, I don't know what, but you can always tell when your car is off, okay? I know my car. So called out, car wasn't working. One time I thought I had COVID, called out. Some of the days I left early. One time, literally car got broken into at work, left early. Like One time did not feel good. Like, I don't know what it was. I was like really constipated, y'all, and like my stomach was just not it. I was literally at work sweating on the registers, like sweating from just like having to like just go shit. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I could not be at work. Like, I was literally sweating, y'all. Like, couldn't even, like, it was bad. And I was like, yeah, I have to go. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Left because of that. Mind you, people leave early all the time. So I'm thinking, like, how could you get a point for that? I was here. I don't get it. So yes, those are just some of the things that I called out for. Like, people call out. That's the thing. Like, I don't understand how, like, people just really victimize, not victimize, but people just really make you seem like you're a bad person for calling out of a job, like, last minute. And I'm like, no, they have plenty of workers. Like, that's them to figure out. I'm not gonna come to work when I'm not feeling up to it. Like, I don't care what anyone says, and if you disagree, that's just toxic capitalism mindset. Because no, not going to. Like, one of my managers literally would go to work when she had like bronchitis. I'm not doing that. I'm not built like that. That's not me. I'm not doing that. Some of the days I called out, I was on my period. Mind you, my first day of my period, I literally throw up like 5 to 8 times, y'all. I'm not joking. Like, I'm having the worst pain of my life every month. Can't even walk, can't eat, can't do anything. Like, why would I go to work? What? No. So yes, those are some of the reasons I called out. Got a paper. She was like, yeah, this is your final warning. I'm like, okay, really confused. So I emailed the like district manager, so that's above, like she sees like oversees multiple stores, and it's also a black lady. So I emailed her because I'm like, hey girl, I'm really confused on Ulta's policies. Is it true that you guys don't take doctor's notes as excused absences? If not, what type of absences are excused? And I get a response being like, hey, only COVID related absences are excused. I'm like, that doesn't, like, I don't know. I was very confused because I explained to her basically like, look girl, I was never notified of these points, and even though on my paper it says that I was notified, so that just doesn't seem fair to me. And so she offered to take off some of my points. She didn't say how many, but she just said she would adjust it, even though she said only COVID stuff is a good reason and it wasn't COVID stuff, but she said she would still adjust it. So I was like, okay, so y'all don't even, whatever. Whatever, I'm not even about to play with y'all. So, okay, oh fuck, I'm already at 30 minutes. Let me speed this up. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, that's really stupid, whatever. So with the cyst thing, I get random pains like where that cyst is, and it's like really painful, and like I can't walk and like all this other stuff. And so it kept flaring up, and I was like, clearly I can't call out again or be late or leave early or I'll literally get fired. So I just need a break. So I went on a leave of absence, a health-related leave of absence, okay? And I went on it for 2 weeks. Now, mind you, this was a whole mess, okay? Me going on a leave of absence was a whole mess. First, I had to like contact these people to like initiate it, okay? I told them the dates I want to go on and what my schedule looks like and all this other stuff. So then, mind you, I didn't even know. Then they have to accept or deny it. I initially got denied because I didn't meet the criteria for getting a leave of absence, which is working at least 300 hours, and I was at like 230. I was like, what sense does that even make? No one told me there's criteria to go on a leave of absence, right? So I initially get denied, and they're like, but we're gonna have a case manager call you. This was the initial day, and they said the next day a case manager was gonna call me and get more details, you know, it could possibly get approved. and I have to apply for, apparently it's California law that if you go on a health-related leave of absence, you have to apply for California disability insurance and or like benefits or something like that. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of a lot. And then I also had to submit documents to support why I want to go on a leave of absence. I'm like, oh my God, this is too much, y'all. I'm gonna be so for real. Like, okay. So I tried doing the California disability stuff, and it does not let people who don't have a California ID or California driver's license sign up. I have a Georgia ID and driver's license because I used to live there, and my stuff hasn't expired, so I haven't had a need to get a new one. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, so it's literally just not letting me move forward. Like, it wouldn't let me do it. And so I'm like asking, trying to call people, either no one's answering or no one knows what to do. So that blows me, and I'm like, all right, guess I'm just not gonna do it because no. So then to submit my documents, I have to go on this website and like make an account and then go forward like that. Wouldn't even let me make an account, y'all. Like, I was like, so the universe just doesn't want me to do this. So I end up not submitting my documents, not doing the California disability stuff, and then a case manager never calls me, y'all. Never calls me. So I was like, okay. And another rule was that I had to go to the doctor before my first day back to get approved to come back. I was like, I don't even have a doctor in California. Like, you're acting like it's just that easy. Like, what's even going on? So didn't do that. I actually did try. But it did not work. I don't understand the health system in California. It really simply makes no sense. It's really complicated, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. And so I couldn't even do it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just show up and see what happens, because I'm not gonna do any of this. I'm gonna be so for real. Like, I'm sorry, bro. So then, yes, my first day was 2 days ago. My first day back for my 2-week leave of absence. Also, on the beginning of my leave of absence, like the next day, no one even told the managers at my store that I was on a leave of absence. So they thought I was showing up on all these days, and I wasn't. And I was just like, see, this is the communication I'm talking about. Because one of my coworkers literally texted me being like, you're not coming today? And I was like, I'm on a leave of absence, babe. Why would I come? And she was like, oh, we didn't know you were on a leave of absence. And I was like, no one told y'all? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, well, now you know, so leave me alone. But yeah, it's really stupid. I was like, yeah, y'all are simply doing too much. Oh yeah, so I show up. It goes okay, my first day back. People are like, oh my God, we missed you. I missed your vibe. And then I was like, it was okay. Then the next day, which was yesterday, I had to work an 8.5-hour shift. And I'll be honest, y'all, I just was not feeling it. So yeah, I quit. I was like, no. I can't do this. So I called like 30 minutes before my shift, and I definitely quit. So yeah, all in all, I feel better. I feel great. I hated that job. I'm gonna be so for real. Yeah, that's the tea on that. Don't work there, to be honest. If you're black, don't work there. And just don't work there in general, y'all. Like, it's just not worth it. Like, Ulta they act like they care about their people, but they really don't. The rules are really stupid, and yeah, so I'm good on that. I worked there for like 6-7 months. I got a little bit of money, and yeah, that's me. That's my truth. That's my story. And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a great day. Bye.